Hey guys, here again with another Sure Grub knife. Today we have in front of us the Stellar Custom Division. Now, I did recently do a video on the Stellar Sprint Run variant. The Sprint Run is very similar in the design to the Custom Division, just with some changes in configuration. And if you're really interested in kind of the technical aspects of the knife, I really do insist that you watch that video. I'll go ahead and link it in the description. But this video today, since so many features of the knife overlap with the Sprint Run model, I'm really gonna take this time to kind of compare the two models, since there are some very interesting differences that are mostly aesthetics. And besides the configuration of the blade, this being a mono steel versus the Damasteel on the Sprint Run. Now, the Custom Division model came out quite recently. You know, the custom version of the Stellar just debuted actually this year at TKI Nashville. So Custom Division coming through just a few months later, exactly like what we've seen with the Quantum. At the same rate, I would expect to see the production version hopefully sometime next year, maybe mid next year. Excuse me. Really excited for that. The Custom Vision model itself debuted at Oral Expo in Moscow earlier this year and was also available just last week at the California Custom Knife Show. So fortunately, a friend of mine was able to snag this at the lottery and provide it for review. Really appreciate that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the specs of the knife really quick. Not going to do too much of comparison, since again, that should be covered in the Sprint Run Stellar video. But again, we have that 3 3/4 cutting length with the overall length at around just over 8 1/4 inches, and a handle length, which is just over 4.5 inches. The weight, I think, it will be a little bit more interesting, since we're comparing it. We can compare it to the Sprint Run here, and I'm really wondering what the weight difference is. Let's take a look here. The Sprint Run weighs 4.28 ounces, while the Custom Division weighs 4.22 ounces. So the Custom Division is actually lighter, given the fact that the blade stock is the exact same thickness, 3.5 millimeters. I would hazard to say that the Damasteel is what's causing the knife to be just a couple hundredths of an ounce heavier. Very interesting. But speaking of the blade, moving on to the blade here, we can see that we have very beautiful stonewash finish on the blade, very typical of the Custom Division, a little bit finer than what we see on the productions here. If I actually have a production to pull out. There we go. I don't know if we can catch on the video, but you can see the stonewash on the production is just a little bit coarser than what we see on the Custom Division. We also have the Custom Division logo, since this is a Custom Division knife. This is something that has changed since the Sprint Run Quantum. The Quantum Sprint Run had the Custom Division logo, but it seems that Sugar Grub has fully qualified these knives as Sprint Runs now, and they do not have a Custom Division logo on them. So it's something nice to see, again, on the Custom Division. And we also have those beautiful satin flats that contribute to the buttery smooth action of the Custom Divisions. Very, very smooth with the addition of those rollers. The blade itself is M398 blade steel, which is the workshop has been using a lot more on some of their more premium knives. The Russian Overkill, RJ Martin collaboration, also using the steel, and also on some limiteds as well, such as, again, this green F3 that we see at shows such as Oral Expo, kind of their limited knives. So very nice steel with very, very good edge retention. But overall, the blade profile itself, with the extract cut and this kind of thumb ramp and the jimping here on the back, hasn't changed compared to the Sprint Run model and the titanium Stellar itself. It seems like this blade profile is the profile of the titanium Stellar. If we take a look at the Stellaris, which came out recently, you can see we have jimping here, no blade extract cuts, and also no swedge at the top here. Video on this one soon. So this seems to be the blade configuration of the titanium model, which I think is a little bit classier than perhaps maybe having jimping on it. But I do like the jimping on the Stellaris, so I'm kind of torn about it. Moving on to the handle, however, we can see that we have this beautiful darkened bronze anodization that is distinctly different than what we see on the Sprint Run, which is just a slightly darkened titanium. Also taking a look at the screws here, you can see that the screws have the chamfer also being done in this brilliant, very shiny bronze anodization. I really like that aspect of it. I understand kind of having the, clean titanium here. It makes sense not to have such a shiny color, but this whole color scheme is very nice. I really like the whole darkened bronze aspect going on here, and the pivot screw really sets it off, especially with the wider, larger screw that is coming with the newer knives, having that chamfer and having that anodization being done. Really, really nice. The milling pattern as well has changed and is a direct mirror to what we see on the Sprint Run here. You can see on the Custom Vision, it is at the bottom front of the knife and slopes downwards. While on the Sprint Run, you can see it's on the top rear half of the knife. Really cool. Sergey has done this on his customs, but has done the same here on the Custom Division, where you'll see two knives with similar aesthetics, but the milling patterns might be different. One might have two different types of milling thickness where they'll be swapped on both knives or something like that. My F7 is an example of that. Moving on to the back of the handle, you can see we have that pattern being repeated as well as the anodized screw. And also if you take a look really closely here, you can see the chamfer on the rear of the rear screw itself is also anodized in that shiny bronze color, something that again is distinct from the Sprint Run, as you can see right here. And lastly, the clip has changed slightly as well. When I first saw pictures of the Custom Division, I thought that there was just large milling on two spots, and this was completely flat like it is on the Custom Stellar, which is completely smooth. But in fact, it is actually just the inverted pattern from the Sprint Run. So if you take a look real close here, you can see that there is milling, thin type milling on the lowest point of the clip here, and also on the back. And that pattern is just the inverse of what we see on the Sprint Run. So really cool, and again, similar to the handle pattern, kind of the inversion of different textures. Very interesting. But overall, this knife has the same inset lock system, very, very positive contact and securement on the lock bar with 3 points of contact, those two screws and the titanium index pin. Again, take a look at my Stellar Sprint Run video if you want more information on that. The overall coloring of the anodization, like on the clip, I believe is exactly the same. It's just the handles and the bevels of the screws, which are different. But overall, I really like the monosteel blade. I really prefer monosteel blades over Damasteel. The new high contrast etch on the Sprint Runs is really cool, however, and it's making me change my mind a little bit. But again, very cool collaboration, configuration for the Custom Divisions, and really, really nice Custom Division piece. It's really exciting to see the Custom Division Stellar coming so quick. I know a lot of people have been asking for it since the original Custom Stellar debuted earlier this year. So it's finally here, and now with the Custom Stellaris being debuted, potentially might even be seeing a Custom Division version of that one as well. So I just want to wrap this one up real quick. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.